Okay, welcome back. Sunday, 6th of April, 12 noon UK time. We just currently got the BTC USDT open. This is the monthly, and we're just drawing some trend lines that we noticed of all-time highs previous in 2021. As we can see, we had one touch here. We had another touch here. We have another touch here, basically, and we have several months, 1, 2, 3, and 4 months, which rose above this trend line, which is formed by these two touches here, but nothing seemed to close above it, if you notice. So we had a clear spinning top here, a very, very tight one. And then from here we had a retest of this line and down. So you know, as I've said in other videos, it's looking like our next major support is this area here. If I just put in a box rather than a line, it'd probably be a bit more, you know, when we draw these lines, they're just kind of like guidelines. It's not saying that it will hit exactly on, but most likely it zones, things like this. So I'm drawing this zone here because we have a bottom touch and we have a top touch, and in between we have candles here that nothing really closed above this. So some people could even draw this as a zone if we're focusing more on can you see the body close here, body close here, body close here? So these bodies are closing quite close to where I've expanded that triangle. So you know, that's a zone you could draw out. But anyway, so if I give an example of another way I'll draw a zone, if you see here we have this close here of this candle body here, and the next retest of that will be a candle body here. So if I just put that there, you can see the candle body closing there. You can see candle body close here. If I expand that out, that's how I would draw another zone area. So these are the type of things I'm looking for when I draw the zones, but usually I just put in a line just as on a monthly you can't really see the details, but for example, if we went to the daily, you might see some more details as to why I've put those lines there. So for example, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, this is kind of like an area again. It's not exactly on the line, but I just kind of, when I put my lines in, sometimes I just do an average. So I just put it in a place where I feel, okay, this is an average of all of that bunch up. And yeah, I just use my eyes really. Like I just look at the price action, see where things have resisted, and then also at the same point where they've had support, and I'll just say if it's happened multiple times, 2 or 3 times, then I can say, okay, that's an area of support and resistance. That's basically how I draw my timelines on the monthly and also on the daily. Now if we just stay on the daily for a minute and we just check out where what's happening with Bitcoin at the moment. As I said, this whole area here, purple area, is, you know, the top of it's 73, where we had a retest there, a retest here. So we've come quite close down to it, but I'm expecting that things could easily come down to 73 before maybe doing a bounce and moving higher. It could get caught up in 73 for a while, and we could have a bit of sideways movement for quite a while, as we did between March 2024 and October 2024. As you can see, it just bunched up for a while, and this is just giving these usually happens after large run-ups. The price have to cool off and give some time for the next move. If we just look in across the board here, we had this massive run up We had a bunch up, then we had a drop, then we had a bunch up. This bunch up lasted from May, yeah, basically June, July, 3 months. Time periods to just cool off. Big move down. Again, we have a bunch up of April, Jan, again 3 months. Drop down, then you have this bunch up. You know, usually happens. Anyway, so back to what's happening in current times. Just doing a bit of analysis here. We can see here areas of, let's open this up. Now you can see all these wicks that have come down to this area, nothing closing. We can see a support round about here. So if I put in a line here, sorry, what have I done there? If I put in a support line here on the daily, right here, and I just colored this orange, that's another thing I tend to do. I tend to like use different colors for different time frames. So this pale color could be like marking things on the weekly and the monthly. Then I'll use the days. I'll use orange for days and maybe 4 hours. Then I'll use a different color so that I can clearly see why I drew that what time frame I drew that trend line on. So that's something that I just started to do. Didn't really copy it from nowhere, it just kind of made sense. So yeah, just putting in a line here. We had a retest and it's come down. Yeah, I believe that 73 is definitely on the cards, and you know, if it like I said in previous videos, if we come below this and retest in here, yeah, we've got more room for downside. It might bunch up for a while because, you know, moving from here from 108 all the way down to 77, that's a fair drop. You know, that's a good 25% move. So it could take some time to cool off before it does some next move. But yeah, that's what I believe. I believe it could easily come and retest, and if we see it break below, then we've got some more downside to look at. In terms of where it's going for the next week, I'm not really sure. We have, if I just get a couple of the indicators that I use up, this RSI indicator, which sometimes I'm using a free version of TradingView. So if I just click here and go to the settings, where's settings? So if I go to settings, as you can see, it's standardly set at 70 and 30 for the upper and lower bands. I like to put mine at 80 and 20. This just kind of gives me a bit more confirmation that things are oversold when it see for example here, this would have been, if it's at 30 it would have been saying oversold, but look at how much more room from that point of being at 30. Look at this drop, just a little bit more confirmation that things are actually oversold, and this is more on the higher time frames like the 4 hour and up. You know, you can use it obviously on other time frames, but I feel like it plays out a bit better on the higher time frames. It's just a bit more likely to play out as it's reading. So here, I'm not sure what we're looking at. We're kind of like midway with the RSI. You know, I'm really not sure. You know, I'm kind of more into pattern trading and stuff like that. So there's nothing that's really seeming interesting on this day chart. I'll really kind of like be looking to be making some purchases if things come down to around 74, 73, that type of area. At the moment, I don't know, like there's not really much telling me. If I just also get up the MACD, which sometimes I use in help to get an insight. So yeah, again we've had a crossover at this point, then a crossover again. There's nothing that's exciting me to get into a trade on this date chart. Going to the 4 hour, it's pretty much the same. I mean, looking at the 4 hour, I can see there's quite a bit of support around this area. Quite a few touches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches there. So again, there's nothing that's like, okay, let's get into a trade here. This looks either way to me, and I'm not into forcing trades, so I can't see anything that's telling me, okay, let's get into this trade. There's not really a pattern. This is the 10th of March one that we're doing, the rise and wedge, which has broken down to the let me just redraw this again so you can see what was actually happening, where my mindset was. So okay, so let's just put in this rise and wedge again. I took it down because it's already played out and the game's over. So it was something like that. It broke down to the downside, came up, retested quite close to areas that we believed it would. I think at the time, if I open up this, I think at the time here I saw it come to this area, but look, we actually got that kind of retest in that area around about 88 before. Looking here, we could be forming a double bottom. So that's the first one, and the second one. Now if we did run up and come to this point, which is also an area of support and resistance. So if I put a line here, okay, so we'll be looking at, this was forming a double bottom, it will be basically like this. So this is the first the first bottom, rise back up, second, and back up. Breaking above this line, you'll be doing a long trade, and measured move, be taking that and putting that above here. So our stop loss, nothing less than a 2-to-1 trade for me. Everyone to their own, but for me it's got to be like 2-to-1 and up. So yeah, that would be the measured move. So if I just kind of get the tool to measure up how I would be setting up my trade, the long would be entering position here, preferably on a retest, but you can buy it on a breakout or buy a partial amount on the breakout and buy the rest on the retest. That's another way of doing it. I would set my stop loss below any previous. Let me spread this out a bit. So I'm just going to tell you why I'm setting my stop losses where. So as you can see here, this line here is just below this price bunch up here. It's just below this price bunch up here, where I believe yeah, I think it's a good place to place a stop loss. That just shows me that that's an area where if price is to be pushed down, it might be having trouble getting past, because there might be a lot of buyers or sellers here, or buyers preferably if you're doing a long. The price will come in and people will be buying it and push it back up. If it's people selling, then obviously it's going to sell and hit your stop loss. But placing it just below there I think is a decent place for me. As you can see, this is a 2.3 ratio. The measured move, you might want to be taking 70% of that move. So yeah, something like that. That's a 2-to-1. Okay, so we could be looking at something like this: a double bottom, breaks above here, stop loss is set, triggers us in, gets us into the trade and take profits. Apart from that, I can't really see too much. I don't know. That's what I see. Let's have a look on the smaller time frames, 1 hour. See if we see any patterns or anything. Again, it's just, yeah, I don't know. There's nothing I can really pick out. 15 minute. Okay, so on the 15 minute, we've had a recent, what's that, yesterday afternoon, fell flat. We had what we call bullish divergence, where the RSI is sloping upwards and the price action sloping downwards. You see, when you see this, it's usually a decent sign that you have a trend reversing. This is on the 15 minute as well. So as you can see here, price is sloping up on the RSI, sloping down on the price, and then shortly after, this is a sign of trend reversal. Shortly after, you can see we had the trend reversal and had an up move on the 15 before heading back down again. So these are signs. If we try and do a bit of back testing here again, if you look here, you have the price sloping downwards, RSI sloping ever so slightly. Sometimes it could be just flat, whilst the price is sloping downwards. That's another sign. So here again, if you open this up, let's imagine you're here at this point. You can okay, and then you start printing this candle. You're just seeing, okay, this is finished. This is printing a green candle up there. This is clearly sloping. That might be, okay, time to get into the trade here. So if you got into the trade here, obviously you won't be setting your stop loss there. You set your stop loss a little bit down. You would have gone up in some profits a bit. You would have come back down to where you started, breaking even, before running up some profits and hitting your at least 2 to 1. So that's that. So this is just a little bit about how I mark out my trend lines and my support and resistance lines, my zones. Also how I spot trend reversals, what I'm looking for, what type of patterns I might be looking for, different time frames I'm using, and how I monitor on different time frames. So you know, that's one of the key things I do. I kind of start off with the day or the week, and then I'll kind of break down and go down into the smaller time frames and just see if I can see anything. I'm not particularly a day trade or swing trade. I'm you know, I'm just kind of like, sometimes I'll do a day trade and sometimes I'll do a swing trade, and I'm still learning. I'm not a guru in this. I'm just sharing how I do things and what I've learned so far. So if you like this video, please do like, comment, subscribe, share, and you know, helps the channel and algorithms, and we hope to see you on the next video. I'll be uploading some videos, like actual structured tutorial videos. For example, topic of today will be trend lines, topic of today will be RSI, topic of today will be volume confirmation and things like that, because I haven't actually spoken much about volume confirmation, which is quite important. But yeah, thank you for watching and listening, and also hope to see you on the next video. Take care.